It's a Total Blind Mage, sharing my magic of the world, and today I'm going to do the Celtic Cross Tarot Spread. So this is one of the most common tarot spreads. It's one most people learn when they're first doing readings. And the spread is made up of 10 cards set up in a cross with other cards down the sideline of it. And this reading is usually used for your dilemma or problem you're facing and you wish to have clearance or help from the spirits in order to understand what the problem is and how to fix it. So off camera, I decided to shuffle my deck, which is the Fairy Garden deck, and I drew the cards. While drawing the cards, I was focusing on the question of finding a job, since at the moment I'm struggling to find one. Yeah, not easy when people speak and they're like, nope, we're not to hire you. You know you're qualified for a job. So like I said, this is called a cross. So you have the cross itself within the center. And then I feel like this is like the tail of the cross, the one that is down. And so how you lay cards out is that
what's the center?
Yeah, so 1 and 2 are in the center. And then you do like cross. So 3, 4, 5, 6. And starting from the top here is where you start 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, so in case people can't tell, 1 and 2 are stacked on top of each other?
Yeah. So it's like a big cross inside a bigger cross. The first 2 cards are meant to look like a plus sign. You know, just trying to make it more descriptive for those that can't see or are listening impaired watching this.
Or, like in my case, are a noob and know nothing.
Card 1 is known as the questioner. There's a different word, but I'm having trouble saying it, so I'm like, I'm just gonna switch it. So this card laid horizontal in the middle of the reading and represents the person who is asking the question. So my first card was the Knight of Cups, which represents a person who is a dreamer, but also someone who has high morals, is energetic, creative, and passionate about the world around them.
Oh, you.
I mean, that's what the first card usually represents is the person. So yeah, it's for me.
But you didn't draw like a card that you would, like a major arcana and be like, me!
I mean, that can happen sometimes. Like, if you feel strongly towards a major arcana you're drawing cards, it can represent you. I know for myself, a lot of times, either the Chariot, the Wheel of Fortune, or the Tower comes up my readings.
I mean, aptitude to define you, so that's still good.
Alright, but the way this reading works is that it wants you, the very first card should show what traits that are you is going to be put into focus for the problem. The second card represents the plot, what is preventing you from succeeding or preventing you from understanding the problem at hand. I drew the 6 of Pentacles, or in some tarot decks, the 6 of Coins. They both represent Earth, but some decks call different things depending on when the deck was created. This card represents balance, trying to either have a balance with money, relationships, or life in general. And because of the fact this was reversed, some people think of reverse cards as a negative meaning. I see it more as upright is positive outlook and reverse is not negative, just not the bright sunny side of cards. So because it's reverse, it means that I'm facing an imbalance, either a relationship's not doing well, or I'm stressed out about money, or in general, just stressed out about what's to come. Card 3 is the Root. This card represents definitely what it sounds like, the root of the problem, or unbalanced energy that's holding you in place in order to move towards your goal. And it's funny because Lauren's like, what about the major arcana? And this is what this is. So this is the Lover's card. And Lover card usually means either self-love or relationship, or friends or family that you consider close to. And the fact that it represents the root showcases that because of the fact I'm looking for a job and lower star came up for what's causing me not to find a job, is that I have insecurities about my success. Which makes sense because of the fact that even though I have self-confidence in my skills, I'm hesitant about if people will give me a chance to showcase them. Card 4 is the most recent past. So what has most recently occurred in your life? And I drew the Devil card, which represents desire. Either, oh god, Lauren's having fun with this one. Either sexual or maternal goods. It can also represent either being jealous or envious of what others have that you do not have. And it's funny that, like I said, I asked this cards about getting a job, but also at the same time, my alarm's coming up, and I'm wondering if the two are being mixed in the reading. Card 5 is possibilities, all outcomes that will be revealed upon succeeding in your possibility of your success or what you're seeking for the reading. I drew another major counter card, which is kind of funny, which is the Chariot. The Chariot represents positivity, and also that anything you do moving forward will be in positive light, and that you should be joyful and look on the positive while completing your tasks. Which means that I need to stop focus on the negative and focus on the good parts of what's going to come for me. Card 6, and Lauren's laughing because this is another card that comes up on my readings, is looking to what comes ahead. And I got death. And no, death does not mean that someone's going to die. That is a huge misconception with readings. It does mean that something's going to come to an end. Either a job, a hobby, a pursuit, or a relationship, and rare occasions, someone actually dying. And sometimes when you do readings, you pull a card and the meaning might not be clear for you, so you have to draw more than one card to ask the spirits for a clear indication of what they're trying to say. Because looking forward ahead and it starts saying something's not coming in was confusing to me.
And I was thinking maybe it's saying something has to end for something to begin that would lead to a job.
Right. So I pulled 2 cards. Usually you pull as many cards as you feel you need to in order to understand what they're trying to say. So the first card I drew was the Ace of Wands, which is a related card because it says luck is on your side and anything you do you'll be successful. And the second card I pulled is the Four of Swords, which represents that you need to overcome fears, expectations, or anxieties you have. And then here in those 2 cards, it made more sense why death was for what looking for the future. Because I do want a job in bakery, making desserts or working for a cafe, and it's saying that maybe trying to get a job working for someone else is what's going to come to an end, and that I need to do my own business. And that I'll have more success with that than trying to work for a company, knowing that I have to overcome my own handicaps to be approved by them.
So you're going to open up your own bakery?
That's probably what the cards are saying. And that's the type of job I'm looking for. I feel like that's where my strengths are.
I mean, you did all that research on, like, food safety and stuff.
Right, but I mean, being the one for jobs here, I work in a bakery or sector. I mean, those seems like the only areas like I can actually excel at. Card 7 is how you do yourself, and I got another major talent card. Which is a good sign. If you get more than like 2 in a reading, that means the spiritual like pay attention and follow what we say. Because it's important. And the sun is what I got, which means I see myself in positive light, that I'm focusing on the positive, not the negative in life, and that I'm trying to see the good side of things.
So how does that relate back to your question?
Probably the fact that because I see myself in a positive life and a positive light that I can do anything, is that for a job search not to get discouraged or stop seeking a job, people teach saying no and shut the door in my face. Card 9 is your hopes and fears. Pretty much mean that what the questioner hopes and fears are with the situation at hand, which is for me is find a job. And the card I drew is another major arcana, the Hermit, which makes it number 7 out of 10.
Damn.
On its own, the Hermit usually means a person that seeks out isolation. They want to get away from society and focus on their own inner self.
AKA bookworm?
Well, not just a bookworm. Also those that feel lost either by religion or their own spiritual quests and want to focus on their own soul, their own inner self to see how they can fix it. A lot of times people do this in solitude. Which is why I think it's interesting that I got this card for my hopes and fears. And that because of the fact my question was about a job, perhaps my hopes and fears is that it's a hermit, that I fear that I won't ever get a job and that I'll not be alone. As sad that sounds. And that hopes are that because of the fact I've been focusing on myself and seeing myself in a positive light and how I help others, that in reality I need to start myself first before I can branch out to others for a job. Dun, 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 dun. The last card, which means the outcome. And this doesn't mean that because this card shows what will happen, doesn't mean it's set in stone or that it will occur the next day. Usually it just shows what you're working towards and what may occur if you stay on this path, but it's not guaranteed. The card I picked was not a major arcana, which is like, shatters and thought on 4. So for the first 2. And it is the Page of Swords, which represents new chains or new direction. Which is why I was laughing, I was looking at the meaning. Because of the fact I've been trying to find jobs the old-fashioned way. Going on Indeeds, going on interviews, trying to find someone to hire me, but if the outcome is a new direction, perhaps I need to add more thought on doing my own bakery. That was the Celtic Cross Tarot spread, and I hope it was helpful not only going over how the spread is laid out, but also what each card is titled and an example of how to do reading either for yourself or for a customer. There are multiple different spreads that I can cover if you wish. Comment below, and until next time, we'll see you.